Julie had a question about how to create a template from scratch. Um, you know, basically, a template is going to be like creating a layout, except that you're not going to be worried about the colors or adjusting the colors. So if I start to make a template and I have no idea what to start with, it's a little bit intimidating because it's like starting with a blank canvas, which it is. But what I'll do typically is I will start with the selection tool and make some rectangles where I imagine I'm going to have pictures. So let's say that I'm going to make a template for 2 photos. I'm going to make a rectangular photo here, which now I will fill with black. I deselect. If I want to have the same size, sometimes it's a good idea, I will right click and duplicate and just move it. Let's say I'm gonna have these photos there. Then I'll add a new raster layer and I'll put it below where I can make another shape. It could be a rectangle, it could be a circle, could be whatever. But let's go with a rectangle again, and maybe I'm gonna have a mat around here. I'm gonna choose now just a gray so it's different color, and I'll fill. So you can see how that kind of gives me an idea. And maybe I'll want to have another paper. So I'll add another raster layer. And maybe I want the paper to be below. Now I'll choose another gray and fill it. And I can rearrange. So maybe this one I'll want to have it behind, just sticking out, etc. And that way I can add various shapes of papers. If I plan on having, let's say, ribbons, I might simply use my pen tool, and the pen tool can be interesting because I might be able to do some curves, but I can also just use my brush tool. Let's make it 100 pixels, and I'll take another gray. Again, I have to make another raster layer. Maybe I want to have, let's say, something that's going to be at an angle here. Oh, I should have had my steps back to 1. So I make something like this. I can rearrange, of course. Maybe I want it on top of that paper. Maybe I want it on top of the corner of the photo. I can move it a little bit. And if I want some parallel ribbons, I can right click and duplicate and move them. Remember that templates are not necessarily going to be used as is. So you can have, let's say, a rick-rack ribbon here and a straight ribbon here. It's really up to you. And then if you want to add elements, when making a template, which is only going to be, again, a starting point, I tend to use the star, and I choose, again, a different color. For the fill, typically no outline. And I'll just make an element here, right click and convert it. And I'll make another one, different size, right click, convert. Very often elements are kind of interesting when they are in odd numbers. So if you have number 3, convert, and you can rearrange them. You can change the brightness, contrast, so you can see them better. So you can go to the adjust, brightness, contrast. Change this one. You can go down a lot. And you try to not match the same color as the background. And then you can add one layer at the very back, at the bottom. And let's just fill it with white. So this is the base principle on how to create a template. Whether it's going to be looking good or not, that's not something you can plan. You can use some of the design principles, like I'm having a series right now in the blog about the design principles. So as far as balance, repetition, contrast, or whatever, uh, there are some basic principles that you can use so it does not look eclectic or just like thrown without any thought. Um, but this is a bit the idea for making that. Now, if you want to do uh, the photos as mask, well, we know the principle, so you use that. You select all, float, and you go down, add a mask, show all, bring that floating selection down, deselect, Control D, and now it's blocking, so you invert under image, negative image, and you have that spot here, so you just have to put the photo under the mask and it will show in that area. So Julie, does that answer your question? Yes, and Renee was saying that you can save the basic shapes. So yes, if those shapes, if they are vector, you can use them. One thing though is that you have to be careful if you are using vector, because if you tend to make several of them, they will end up on the same layer and different objects. So you really have to separate them for the next person to use. Although again, those are 3 stars, but you can put a flower, you can put a tag, you can put a button. It does not have to be a star. Unless you have a particular shape. Let's say maybe you have a scallop and you really feel like the scallop is going to be part of the design. Then, yeah, you make it in a way that the user will be able to clip the paper to it. So that's what it is. Hey there! I hope you found this information helpful. If you're curious to dive deeper and explore more about PaintShop Pro, we've got a wealth of resources waiting for you in our membership area. There, you'll find in-depth classes, workshops, Q&A sessions, and much more to help you enhance your PaintShop Pro and digital scrapbooking skills. Feel free to check it out. The link is in the video description below. Thanks for watching and see you in the campus!